Today we're breaking down the second out of the four pillars of health. To quote Peter Attia, the fitter you are, the lower the risk of death, and there is no other intervention, drug, or otherwise that can rival the magnitude of its benefits. Do me a favor, before we get into the show, give up a positive rating and review, share the show so that we can grow as a community and impact more people. Thus far, the show is independent and I don't have guests to cross share followers, meaning I rely on you each week to spread the word. Welcome to The Practical Edge. We're here to strip down the old and rebuild a better you, helping redesign your life with clarity, courage, and practical strategies. If you're ready to stop settling and start evolving, you're in the right place, and I'll be your host, Dylan England. As mentioned in my last episode, the second pillar is exercise and movement, which is the closest thing to a panacea that we currently have available to us, helping with depression, anxiety, confidence, bone density, chronic pain, insomnia, circulatory and cardiovascular issues, and so much more. Maybe you ask the question, what is the healthiest exercise that I can do to improve my health? According to a 2022 meta-analysis research study, it's walking. In a perfect world, aiming for about 7,000 to 9,000 steps in theory was what they researched. But if you cannot walk, any form of movement that increases your heart rate, improves circulation, and potentially something that gets you outside with some form of nature is ideal. Aside from walking, the next best thing is going to be some strength training. Strength training helps improve your bone density, and what we know about aging adults and falling, injuries are more inclined to occur, resulting in fractures. Depending on the age and the physical condition, it might be the last fall we live to experience. Lifting weights improves not just bone density, but muscle mass, potentially improving mobility, stability, and if done right, it's going to improve your functional independence through aging. One of the most common goals of some of my clients and patients is that they want to be able to watch, interact, and care for their grandchildren as they explore the world. In order to keep up and get to and from the ground, all facets of strength, mobility, and stability are required. Weightlifting can give you those benefits. It also helps improve your metabolism, brain function, fights against dementia, some forms of cancer. It desensitizes the sensation of pain or the interpretation of pain, helps build resiliency and learned habits required to excel in all facets of life. Improving confidence through physical health, mental health, and subjectively, the perception of body composition. Also, without all of the adverse side effects, which is a wonderful thing. Now, I'm not suggesting you attempt to become a bodybuilder or a powerlifter. You don't need to live your life based on the standards set by somebody else or lifting X number of weights at a pre-selected number of repetitions, as much as finding and exploring what your body is capable of. In turn, being able to enjoy living the life you want to live without physical limitations. If you want to hike in the woods, if you want to interact with your grandchildren without limitations, if you want to live long enough to enjoy the growth of your family members through several generations, even if your goal is performance in another realm, such as sports training, like cycling or running, your performance will actually improve through strength training while building resiliency against injuries. Speaking on injuries, if you have chronic pain, whether that be degenerative disc complications, spinal fusions, laminectomy, disc herniation, to shoulder injuries like a rotator cuff injury, ligament or meniscus injuries in the knee, hopefully you get the gist. Exercise and movement is going to be that thing that helps get you better. But it's also the appropriate exercises in your phase of recovery that is important. If you have injuries limiting one part of your body, you may have a justification to taper back and take time to rest and recover. But note that you do have the rest of your body that is capable of executing movement to continue building healthier habits. I'm clearly passionate about this topic because it's helped define and shape who I am and develop into what my future has become thus far. All of my growth and success has stemmed from getting into weightlifting and then ultra distance running after that, completing 50 and 100 miles in a single day. The learned resilience and fortitude that stemmed from strength training and ultra running, accomplishing feats that I once said I would never do, growing and becoming a personal trainer, taking first place in a men's natural physique competition, and graduating with both college degrees that I have. It led to eventually become a leader in my career and acquire a teaching job for Great Lakes Seminars. That drive also pushed me to chase financial security, diving into investment strategies, setting bold goals, and eventually aiming for a future far bigger than anything my younger self could have imagined. And now I want to help unlock that same kind of potential in support of anybody that is looking for growth, looking for development, and looking to see what they are capable of, how to do it, how to take the next step. Or they're just feeling discouraged, feeling beat up by life, and they want to take things to the next level. They want to find different avenues or different ways of living life and enjoying life. And it stems from building a foundation of health. With that in mind, here are some of those actionable steps that you can take when getting into your exercise routine. Changing your habits, not your goals. Really, set your goals, stick to them. When you think about changing your habits, start with subtraction before addition. What I mean by that is think about what habits you already have. What are some things that you can get rid of or eliminate as a habitual routine that's going to serve you best towards your goals? When you begin to subtract things that don't serve you or are underserving, it's only going to give you a lot more time to begin adding those healthier habits that are going to serve you. The next one is getting up more through the day by setting a timer as a reminder, especially if you work at a desk job. Making a point to stand and walk more through the day as a new habit and routine. Schedule yourself time through the day to add in a workout, a walk, or a bike ride in order to get moving each day. Seriously, add it to your calendar so it's a priority and it's not missed. Consider joining a gym with a friend and learn how to weightlift. Follow some of my content on YouTube and other social media for free advice. And if you find you want and or need further coaching, I would say feel free to apply to my coaching program and see if we're a good fit. Remind yourself that it may be challenging, but like anything, if you practice it enough, it will eventually become routine. Coming up in the next episode is one of the things that silently shapes your health, mood, and longevity, and chances are you're not giving it nearly enough attention. Until then, remember, your next level doesn't come from wishing. It comes from daily consistent action. Lean into discomfort and stay relentless. Average is optional, growth is a choice, and the practical edge is where you sharpen that choice. Until next time, stay focused, stay driven, and keep leveling up.